Hey, today we're going to talk about Snowflake mirroring in Fabric, and I've got my colleague Vlad Kozlov with me. Vlad, say hi.
Hello, everybody. And not only we're going to talk about mirroring in Fabric, we also will be talking about wonderful feature called Direct Lake Mode in Fabric.
Amazing. So this is going to be, a screen share. We're going to show you exactly how to set this up. So let's get started. We're going to start first with just a couple slides so you get the idea. Vlad, if you want to go ahead and share your screen. Okay, so this slide I think is useful, just giving us a high-level overview of exactly what we're going to set up. On the left, we've got our Snowflake database, and we're going to set up near real-time replication, and that's going to replicate the data over to these Delta Parquet files in OneLake. And then on top of that, we have a SQL Analytics endpoint, which allows us to query that data. So we've, just in a few button clicks, we've mirrored the database in Fabric from Snowflake without any kind of extract, transform, or load job. So that's the setup that I'll walk you through. Vlad, go ahead and talk to us about what we're going to do with the data afterwards with the direct lake mode.
Yeah, great. So once data landed in Fabric, and specifically in OneLake in Fabric, we have a feature that we call it Power BI Direct Lake Mode. And the Direct Lake Mode, it's a combination of two existing querying modes that we have in Power BI. One is Direct Query Mode. Direct Query Mode is very handy because you querying your actual data, data that's residing in your data source without any lag. So the data is there and you querying directly. But your queries might be slow due to the fact that data source has to apply the query engine and send this data across. The other way is to do it in import mode, which resolves the performance problem. And since data is collocated with Power BI engine, it's really fast. However, your data as fresh as when the last refresh of the import mode was loading this data. Therefore, the direct lake mode, the best of two worlds, combining freshness of direct query mode with the performance of import mode. And that's what we're going to demonstrate you in a short demo after we enable Snowflake mirroring into OneLake.
Yeah, really, Vlad, I think this is such a fantastic approach because it avoids the time and the jobs that you have to set up to import the data and refresh the data into the data model. And it gives users really good performance. So it's really the best of both worlds. You get really good performance and you're not having to wait. There's no lag to refresh the data. So thanks for sharing those slides, Vlad. I am going to share my screen now and we're going to jump into the setup of this mirroring. Okay, we're starting here in Snowflake, and here's a quick preview of the data we're going to be working with. This is one of the tables within the database Kirby. And just to show you, if you want to know, there's a couple parameters when you set up mirroring in Fabric that you'll need to know. Number one, if you click admin over here and go to your warehouses, you're going to need to know your warehouse. This one's called compute_WH. You're also going to need to know your account URL. So if you click down here on your username, and I'll click this here and then hover over this account that I'm using. If you go over here to the right, you've got copy account URL. That's important. You're going to need that to set up the mirroring. So I've got that information. I think I'm ready to go. Let's pop over to Fabric. Here we are in Fabric. And I'm going to just go ahead and say I'm already in my Fabric workspace. I'm going to click the new item button. And then you see all the different features here. If you haven't looked at this recently, we keep adding things to this. Let's go down to the Get Data section. And you can see we can do the exact same thing we're doing with Snowflake. You can do with Cosmos DB. You can do it with Azure SQL Database, also Azure SQL Managed Instance. But for this video, we're going to do Snowflake, so we'll click that. So we'll give it a second, and we're going to pick the Snowflake database name. Now, your server name, you don't want the HTTPS on the beginning of that. So when you do copy that, you're going to have to remove that. Then we'll type our warehouse name, which, as we saw before, was compute warehouse. Now, I already have a connection, so I can use that. So I'll go ahead and click connect. If you didn't want to use that one, you could create a new one by clicking this dropdown. Let's go ahead and click connect. And it's going to go ahead and go out to your Snowflake warehouse and connect to this database. The next screen is going to show you all the different databases that you can choose from. So initially you'll see this loading here. If everything goes well without any error, that loading will go away, and then you just click the drop down. Okay, a couple seconds went by, and we're going to pick the Kirby database and click connect. Now it's going to load and show you all the tables that can be replicated for you. If there's any columns that aren't compatible, you'll get a little pop-up icon here that'll tell you which columns aren't. But this all looks good. I'm just going to go with the default of picking all these, and then I'll click connect. And then in the background, then it's going to ask you for the name of your database, your mirrored database. So let's just, we're going to call this Kirby 7 because I've created another one in the past. Now I'm going to click create mirrored database. Now at this point, I just want to mention something. I think because this is so simple to set up, sometimes it's underappreciated. I mean, Vlad and I probably in our career have written ETL jobs to do something like this. And it's actually a really big deal. You know, you're either backing up your database and restoring it on a regular basis, you're setting up transactional replication, you're dealing with change data capture. It's a big deal to keep data up to date. And the fact that we can jump into Fabric and just click a few buttons and it's all being done for you is really phenomenal. I just can't overstate that. So the mirroring is set up. Now it's going to take a minute or so to start copying data, but we'll just click the monitor replication and we'll give that a second and it will show us our tables and the number of rows being copied. Okay, a couple seconds went by and we now have a list of all the tables that are being replicated. And we'll give it a minute or two, and we'll start to see our rows replicated. Okay, so what do you think, Vlad? About a minute and a half went by, and here we have our replicated rows, and that's just going to keep going. It's going to do this for you. And once again, to do this by yourself, to set up a job to monitor it, etc., kind of a big deal. So it's pretty slick how easy this is to set up. So that's the mirroring setup. If I click the X just to get out of here, you can configure replication if you were going to change tables, etc., include some. You can see we picked the automatically mirror future tables. So that's great. You kind of future-proofed it. It's going to include new tables that you add, but you could also exclude them through this. So we'll just go ahead and cancel that. Then you can also...
Yeah, I also wanted to add... Sorry.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I also wanted to add, if there are any changes to the schemas of your tables, if anything changed, let's say the column got renamed, added, removed, it will show up there on the destination end automatically. Super slick.
So that is the mirroring setup. I think next we're going to show you the data and how to report on that. But first, let's take a look at it, just the raw data in the warehouse. Okay, in order to do that, if you look up here, we can pick our SQL Analytics endpoint, and that'll take us to a screen where we can start querying on this data. And I'm going to pick this NYC, New York City. This is taxi sample data. I'm going to pick that, and so we can actually see the data. And there's the data. So that's the raw data. But now we're going to switch gears and show you how to report off of that, Vlad. I'm going to turn it over to you.
Kirby, thank you very much for showing how easy it was creating Snowflake mirror into Fabric. Now let me share my screen and I will show to you how we create the semantic model based on which we will be creating Power BI reports here. So I go to mirrored database that Kirby just created by establishing mirroring. And here I say new semantic model. and we give it some name. And we'll have it 7. And this will be the workspace. Here I will pick that table that we were just discussing. And when I say confirm, it will create the semantic model, which is a logical layer that will be used by Power BI for creating reports based on data located in that NYC yellow table. Yeah, this is my semantic model. It has been created. Now I can use it with Power BI report creation. There are 2 places where I can create my Power reports. I can create them here using Power BI web service, or I can create them using Power BI desktop. I'd like to create them today using Power BI desktop.
Okay, step 1 is I've opened Power BI desktop from my Windows laptop here, and I'm going to connect to the semantic model that Vlad created earlier. So I'll click One Lake Data Hub here, and I'm going to pick Power BI semantic model, so it kind of pre-filters all the objects for me. Okay, and at the top, this is the one we want, NYC Yellow 7. We'll say connect. Okay, a couple seconds later, it pulled up this data here. What I'm going to do is use Copilot to create this report for me. So I'll click the Copilot button here, and that will pop out this pane here. And I'm just going to say suggest content for a new report page. We'll click that. We'll just give it a couple seconds. And here's some different choices. I'm going to pick this last one, fair amount analysis. You click this down here and then say create, and then it's going to tell you what it's about to do, which is right there. And then it's going to create the report for us. I'm going to pause this for a couple seconds. Okay, so that took about 5 or 10 seconds. Here's the report. So we're done with Copilot here. We can shrink that up. Now what I'm going to do is run the profiler. If we click the optimize menu and then click performance analyzer, we can say start recording, and it's going to record all the steps that it's going to take to render this report, calculate all these visuals. So we're going to say start recording, then we'll say refresh visuals. You'll give that a couple seconds. Now we can say stop. Okay, so I'm going to open up one of these average fair amount, and you can see it's telling us exactly what it's doing and the number of milliseconds duration that it took to do that. You can see it. Here's a DAX query, a visual, other, etc. Now this is going directly via Direct Lake to Fabric. Now I want to contrast that to what it would look like. I have another report pre-created. I'll go over here. This one is connected directly to Snowflake in direct mode. Now, the disadvantage of that, of course, is you're hitting your primary database in Snowflake. And so let's click Optimize and open up this recording tab here, refresh the visuals, and we'll give that some time. Now, if I open this up, you're going to see a little bit different. You're going to see under these different calculations that it has the direct query. So that's what it looks like when it's directly hitting your database versus if we go back to this other report here, this is hitting those Delta Parquet files in Fabric. Vlad, anything I'm missing here that you wanted to highlight?
No, you describe it perfectly, Kirby. Thank you so much. So the idea is analysis services of Fabric used to directly query One Lake in Direct Lake mode, and you get your fresh data, same as you do in Direct Query, but on much more performant way, on a performant way actually of the import mode. That's the beauty of the Direct Lake, and I hope you liked what you see.
Okay, Vlad, thanks for the help here. Just to wrap up, what did we show you today? We showed you how to mirror your Snowflake database and tables into Microsoft Fabric. Then Vlad showed you how to create a semantic model against those tables in Fabric. And then we jumped out to Power BI Desktop, and we first created a report using Copilot in Power BI Desktop. And that was hitting those delta parquet mirrored tables in Fabric. And then we ran that performance analyzer to show you how that did that. And then we did the same with a Power BI report hitting Snowflake in direct query mode, which is obviously what we're trying to avoid when we set this up, is hitting your primary production database. So this has offloaded all that data over to Fabric, a copy of it. It's kept up to date. Vlad, anything I'm missing? I really appreciate your help with this demonstration.
No, not really. You described it really, really well, Kirby. So we tried to show you several things here. You've seen the power of Fabric mirroring, specifically with the Snowflake source. You've seen the Power BI Direct Lake mode showing the great performance and with the fresh data. And as a bonus, you saw the Power BI Copilot, which within seconds created the very sophisticated reports. And I hope you liked it.
Super slick. Yeah, okay. Until next time. Thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Thanks, Vlad.